it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking, but be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Good evening and welcome to Daniel L. Hightower Wednesday. I'm Buddy Martin. I'm the guy who they call the king for whatever reason. I don't know, but they do. And I'm glad to be with you tonight. We've got a busy show. Lots of good content tonight. Hope you'll join us. I'm feeling so good, I might even be able to reward somebody tonight for the best post we have here tonight. All right? We don't need to be down, or we don't need to be bickering. We don't need to be complaining. We just need to be having fun, getting ready for Tennessee, Florida, Neyland Stadium. Will they get 100,000 there? I don't know. We'll see. It's never disappointing in terms of the crowd. The score may be a little bit different. But I'm going to say good evening to you while I'm getting a hold of Edgar Thompson, one of our very favorite guys. He is a very knowledgeable guy. We don't always agree, but we do love to have his information and his input, and we're going to call him right now and get him started on the program tonight because he's packing his bags for a Rocky Top. He's on the way, going to Knoxville to cover the big game. And so Edgar will have some thoughts, as he always does, for us. And he'll be joining me momentarily here on the program. Edgar, of course, covers the Gators for the Orlando Sentinel. At one time, I used to have his handle up here. I have to work on that while Edgar's back there getting ready. And by the way,
not necessarily getting ready.
You're good. You tell me when. I'll see you right there.
Start asking questions.
All right, you're going to do this on the move, huh? I'm going to put your picture up while I'm doing that. All right, asking questions. Okay, one of the things we dealt with today was speculation about what sneaky game plans, if there was one, that Dan Mullen's going to have in Knoxville and Neyland Stadium. And I had one talk show host tell me today, who's a pretty knowledgeable guy, Max Howell, I'm pretty sure we're going to see Emory Jones. And I thought about that. I disagreed with him on that, but I thought, you know what? This is game 4. And you could play him in spot places. I mean, I could see him in the game running a flash sweep, whatever, and maybe not at the quarterback position. But you could still not burn his red shirt. That's just a thought process. I'm sure Dan Mullen has other things on his mind, like, what am I going to do to shore up this middle interior that Edgar Thompson has been complaining about on defense? What can we do there? And so, Edgar, I'll let you answer that one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna put you on right now that you're ready to go. You're all right. Your thoughts about what Florida's going to do about the interior defense, which you talked about. You pointed out that it's a problem. We all know Tennessee wants to try to run the football. So what about that? What do you think is going to happen to Florida's defense against the vaunted Vols?
Yeah, so there's a reason I've been bringing this up since for the 5 or 6 shows we've been on, because that, to me, was the biggest question mark on this team other than quarterback, was what their interior defense was going to be like. Now, without David Reese, in fairness, we're not getting a complete read on that group because he would probably have cleaned up some of the mistakes it's made. But he should be back this week. But those guys are getting blown off the ball more often than not. And Dan Mullen used the analogy this week. He needs these guys to turn in the Incredible Hulk. He wants them to be Bruce Banner on campus. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. But the minute they get on a football field, he wants their eyes turning green and them turning into maniacs and unleashing their inner monster. Because he was funny about it. He even made the face. He was like, "Arr!" Mullen was funny, but he just doesn't get it. He just doesn't have a tough football team. He said, they're not tough enough, period. And he keeps harping on this. So this would be a good week to start, playing to that level that the coaches are pushing for. It's an effort thing. Sure, there's some talent issues and inexperience issues, but potentially talent, but inexperience for sure. I think TJ Slayton's pretty talented, but he doesn't know where he's going half the time. And he's been as bad as any of them. So, yeah, that's an issue that needs to get cleaned up. But Tennessee's offensive line isn't like the best they're going to face. So I think, it's another week to learn and grow there. But in terms of the game plan, buddy, you got to wonder what people are watching, man. So Dan Mullen really needs to suddenly involve another person in the game plan? Why didn't he start involving the guys that need to touch the ball? Kadarius Toney needs the football in his hands. You need to figure out how to get Kadarius Toney the football. He is barely touching that ball enough. Where's Trey Grimes? He's 6'5" and can run. You can't figure out a way to get him the football? Look, I'm not like some offensive genius here, and I know there's more to it than going, okay, we're just going to draw a play up in the dirt. But you're the offensive mastermind making $6.1 million a year and have your staff intact for 18 years you guys have been working together. You can't figure out how to get the football to these guys? It's like they're spreading the wealth too much, in my opinion. Billy Gonzalez is talking about they need to develop 6'8" receivers. Why don't you develop 3 first? Get your playmakers the football, man. Van Jefferson, Tyree Cleveland. I just don't understand it. They don't need to expand the game plan and the go-tos. They need to get a list of guys that need to touch that football and use them. Run them. You think Percy Harvin was an afterthought? Oh yeah. Let's get him the ball, 3 times a game. Come on. I'm disappointed, man, in the way that they're using their playmakers, if you can't tell. I can't tell why Kadarius Toney is not involved in this game plan more. Doesn't make any sense. So maybe they've been holding back these guys because they're going to unleash them now. That's what he needs to do. Emory Jones is not close to ready to play, in this game. There are going to be 102,000 people in a night game on national television. I don't think that's where you bring him in and say, let's see what you can do. Let's see what Dameon Pierce can do. Not in mop-up time. Right? Give him the. You're
saying do that, not being facetious. I agree on that one. I can't argue anything you said right there. Okay, and my response to my friend, who's a very good football guy, was, I don't think he'll see the field. He's got other issues to deal with unless he gets a trick play in there and decides to do something that. But you're right. Toney needs to get the ball. You're right about Grimes. Got to get the ball. You got to get, you got to settle down on your final 2 or 3 running backs. You can't play 5 running backs. You can't have, like you see, you can't have 8 receivers, what have you. And let's work on the fact that the offensive line is Heggie going to be the starting guard. What is he going to? Can they fix the offense? Because that's where the point of attack is going to be. And that offensive line has got to get better.
Yesterday that he just was getting back to 100% a week ago. So again, in fairness, look. I defer to these coaches ultimately because they know who's doing what and who's ready and who isn't, I'm guessing. And maybe they are holding back a bit. Maybe Toney doesn't know any plays other than like 3 plays. Maybe all I can do is line up in the Wildcat.
He doesn't have to know but 3 or 4 plays.
Yeah, but just figure.
He doesn't block anybody. You don't have to block. He's got to run out for a pass or he's got to be able to run the jet sweep or whatever.
Yeah, I haven't seen a jet sweep. He'd be great for that. Anyway, the point I'm making is I'll defer to them.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
I'll defer to them on when guys are ready.
Yeah, right.
But, man, it's time to start really focusing in on here are my studs that I'm going to ride. Okay? I'm going to ride these guys. And they're heading into the mall now, man. All the preliminaries are over. You know, all the cupcakes are in the rearview mirror other than Idaho in a month and a half or 2 months. They got a brutal schedule coming up, man. Tennessee is the easiest game they have for like 2 months. At Tennessee is your easiest game probably. I mean, Vanderbilt's better than Tennessee right now.
If they don't beat Tennessee, 8 wins is off the table and probably maybe even 7. But I'm just saying. No, I'm talking about max. No, max. Talking about max here.
They're not going to a bowl game if they lose this week.
Well, that's my point. They might go to a bowl game, but because they've got 3 more easy wins probably on their schedule. But bottom line is that I think your point is well taken. Let me ask a couple of specific questions for you. Have you heard anything about a suspension today for anybody, any players?
No, are you?
No, one of the posters just said he heard 2 players got suspended today. I don't know. I can't. We have eyes and ears out there.
No, look, man, these people hear more stuff than I do a lot of the times because there are a bunch of people that go to practice, man, that aren't media.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Which I've never really understood. I mean, does the UAA actually own the land?
Well, they have the rights to it. They can't trespass.
The university, which is a public institution, owns the land. Okay? So if they own the land, then staff and students should be allowed on there. I can't walk into a classroom that I want or a meeting at the dean's office, right?
Right.
Unless I'm invited. But I don't think that you can allow the public into these practices and yet keep other people out if they want to come in. I mean, we've looked into this legally before, but there are a lot of people that go to these practices that are not on the staff or are not students, okay? And they leak stuff constantly. So, yeah, maybe 2 guys are suspended. How would I know? I mean, I'm not allowed to go to practice.
Yeah, Steve Russell spoke tonight at the Ocala Quarterback Club, which, by the way, I want to get you next year if you're around. But I'm not the program chairman, by the way. But he brought up, someone said, what is media access like? And he turned and looked at me, and we laughed. I mean, sort of says it's like an oxymoron, and other than the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Not that that's important to anybody. Nobody cares. But bottom line is that...
Well, they want information.
Yes, I know. I understand. All right, so you tell me when you got to go because I know you are packing. But
no, I'm good, man. Just keep on rolling.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of my packing. I just finished writing a 1,150 word story. I just finished, honestly, 30 minutes ago.
What's it about?
It's running Saturday on the rivalry.
Yeah.
I talked to Jaquez Green, Shannon Snell, 2 former Gators, Jason Swain, a radio personality in Tennessee who was a receiver for the Vols. And just asked them, what is the series now compared to what it was then? I mean, this was the game in the SEC, the game.
Yeah, there's a great, excuse me for interrupting you, I wanted to validate what you said. I have a quote in a book from Bob Stoops, his first Florida-Tennessee game, his first year there. And the year Florida went up there and beat them and won the national championship. And he describes this as something he'd never seen before, about these long plays and whatever. He says, and all of a sudden he says, Riddell Anthony catches the ball and goes in for a touchdown and jumps up in his stance and kisses a girl. He said it was just crazy. He never seen anything like it. I mean, you have to understand what this game once was to understand this was a really majestic college football game in 2 terrific settings between 2 coaches who could really coach and could decide national championships and SEC championships. And Spurrier and Fulmer had it going for a while. Urban sort of beat them down. But so there was a time, and I've said this all week long, when the Florida-Tennessee game was the de facto play-in game for the SEC championship game.
It was the SEC championship game. Mm-hmm. I mean, right? Didn't the team that won that win the SEC title like 8 times?
Yeah, like 8 times, I think it was, yes.
I mean, it's like those games were epic, man. I mean, I got into the story with the 06 game because Swain I had spoken with, and he was in that game, and that was the Tebow game. And I asked Mullen about that game the other day.
What did you say?
That was Tebow's coming out on the national stage.
Yeah, big third down play. What, something that happened there? Was that what it was?
Fourth and 1, 26, and he picked up 2 yards. 2 plays later, Leak hit Baker for the game winner, 21-20. And they But it was just a huge game during that national championship season. It was kind of the catalyst to that whole thing, even though they needed to do a lot more things like the block kick in South Carolina, et cetera. But the point is, that game was the catalyst to them winning their second national title. The 04 game, you know, the 30-28 game with Dallas Baker committing the personal foul in the last minute and the 50-yard field goal at the buzzer, at the gun. I mean, look, there was so many epic games, man, that I was at, and the 90s games were the incredible ones because Jaquez was talking about them. I mean, where they were down 30-14 and Werfel threw 6 touchdown passes, beat them 62-37.
Peyton was up 30-14, yeah.
I mean, Manning never beat this team. I mean, it was, everybody knows that fact. But I guess what I'm saying is, man, the game used to be awesome, and it's just not that anymore. But I will say the games have been very exciting in recent years. You have 2 one-point games in the last 4 years. You have a Hail Mary last year, and then you had the one where they went up there and were up 21-3, the Gators, and lost 38-28. So these have been good, exciting football games and passionate games. So if Mullen and Pruitt can stabilize the programs, recruit well, and have longevity, I mean, we could be turning to a new chapter and stealing a page from the past potentially and getting this series back on its feet. But, you know, right now it's just kind of just another SEC game. It's a big game, but it's SEC every weekend, they're big games.
Yeah, Mississippi State, Kentucky is going to be an interesting game, too. But before we get to that, let's talk about a guy who needs more touches. Tony, I agree with you, and Grimes. Dameon Pierce has earned it. He's earned some touches, and I love how he hits the hole. He explodes in the line of scrimmage, and he runs hard and he runs fast. This kid has got to get the ball if they can block for him. That's the big question.
Well, so Pierce, we talked about him, I believe, at one point. But look, man, I'll be honest, man. I did 4 radio interviews Monday, 2 or 3 more yesterday, a couple more today, and now I'm doing this. And I mean, I'm writing stories and doing that too, and trying to go to the gym and do things and get ready to leave town tomorrow. I got to get up at 5 in the morning here. Yeah. So the point is, I mean, I'm talked out, so who knows who I'm saying all this stuff about too. But Dameon Pierce arrived on campus, okay? He's maybe 5'8", according to his teammates. He's a spark plug, a fire hydrant, 220 pounds. He threw 595 pounds on the squat rack and basically just nailed it like it wasn't anything. And Fred Johnson who's 330 pounds, 6'5" guy. He's like, I can't lift with that kid. He's like, he is a strong little man. He is a machine. He can squat like 700 pounds. So you're 5'8"-ish. Like some of the great ones have been these shorter guys, Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith. I mean, Peyton was probably 5'9", 10. And there are these squat backs who are very good. And part of it is they run low. So you get like a 5-foot target coming at you, and you're 6'3", 4'5" defender. That guy's going to get leverage on you. And if he can squat 700 pounds and has a head of steam, how are you going to corral that kid? I mean, he is going to slip under you, through you, whatever. I mean, maybe you'll knock him down, but I mean, he's going to pick up yardage. So I think he's a guy that we really need to see what he can do. I mean, P. Ryan, we've seen what he can do. I think he's having the best season of the 3 guys, including
I do too. I'm a P. Ryan guy. I've been from day one. And I said he runs really good in the red zone. He gets low. He can hit to run with power and speed. He needs to run to be able to run the ball around. He can turn. He gets to the corner really good, by the way. If you haven't noticed,
I want to see him catch, throw to him.
Yeah.
He's a good receiver.
Yeah,
they were throwing to Scarlett 2 weeks ago against Kentucky,
really.
not getting results except the one play.
No.
I just think that Dan, and I don't believe him, by the way, and saying you don't believe a guy and calling a guy a liar are 2 different things. He cannot just he can't come in there and just tell us everything. I get that. And like the other night when he said he's never watched Felipe Franks' film from last year, that's absurd. I mean, if he didn't, he shouldn't even have the job. Of course he watched the film from last year. But he's not going to let Felipe Franks know that he watched it from last year because Felipe Franks, as I said last week, is rabbit ears. He's reading and consuming all this stuff. He doesn't want Dan Mullen to have preconceived notions about him. But the fact is, Dan says things that I just don't know. I mean, I really don't necessarily buy.
I think he speaks in rhetoric.
Yeah, like I'm going to stick with Felipe Franks no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rhetorical comment. I don't think he's out lying. I just think that's kind of
exactly.
Look, coaches say things to say things. I mean, they say it for effect. They try to get impact. That's why every coach
is saying all this stuff about Dameon Pierce doesn't block well enough, doesn't do this, doesn't do that.
Well, don't ask him to block. Put him in there and let him run the ball a little bit. That's what I want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like you don't really know because they're not going to really tell us.
Yeah.
But yes, Dameon Pierce needs to touch the football. Yeah. And Jordan Scarlett, so far, I haven't been blown away. It was a nice run he had. He showed some speed on that one run that I didn't know he had. He had a little extra gear on that one. So, let's get these guys going and grease up the running game, as Ron Zook used to say, because that is what this team has to do, because Felipe Franks cannot carry the load. I mean, he just can't.
Yeah. And Edgar, I'm going to respect you. I'm not going to keep it about 5 more minutes and let you go, but I want to get to the defensive side of the ball for a second. And I'm assuming, I don't know what happened last week because we thought we saw David Reese last week and we didn't see him. Maybe you felt like he didn't need to put him in last week. That's fine. I think he's a significant guy, and I think they may get some, I'm not sure if we get on the field, but Sean Davis, I heard, is a big hitter at the safety position. I'm not sure if he'll be able to get in the lineup at all, whatever. What kind of secondary help will they get, and what's David Reese going to do, and is CeCe going to show up?
Well, David Reese is expected to play according to Dan Mullen.
Right.
I mean, last week maybe they just felt,
didn't have to.
What's the risk? I mean, it's like the Jared Davis injury 2 years ago. He played against Georgia after 10 days after a pretty bad ankle injury, and he gave a heroic performance, but, he couldn't walk afterwards. He was done for the year. So basically he blew it all on one game. And McElwain and them let him do it. Well, you're the adult, you're the coach, so David Reese has probably wanted to play every week. But maybe they're, took the long view on him because they needed to, because they're going to really need him going forward. So hopefully he's close to 100% healthy, but those high ankle sprains can take even more than a month, which has been about his timetable. As for Sean Davis, he tweeted this week he's glad to be back practicing with the team. I don't know what kind of help he will or won't provide. I think that he's, definitely I've seen, he's a guy who really improved in Nick Savage's program. He looks like a different guy out there physically, but he's coming off an injury. I'm not even sure what it is. We never were told.
Yeah.
But, they do need somebody to step up at safety. Brad Stewart the other day gave up a touchdown pass against Kentucky, and then this past Saturday run over in the open field by the tight end. Now, it was a 200-pound safety against a 245-pound tight end with a full head of steam for Colorado State. But, good safeties make that tackle. So I think he's gifted athletically, but, he's still raw and young. Jawan Taylor, I think, is the most limited of the three athletically, but the smartest of the three by all accounts. Safety's a question mark. I don't know what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
Trey Dean is getting all kinds of praise. Van Jefferson said he's going to be one of the best corners in the country in due time.
Very green.
But he's green.
Yeah.
But he's very long and talented and aggressive too. That's the thing Grantham really likes about him, the defensive coordinator. He really likes his fight. And to be a good cornerback, that's like a hand-to-hand combat, agility. That's one of the toughest positions in sports. Cornerbacks are incredible athletes with incredible endurance. Because, it's not only speed and shift and all that, but, it is a lot of hand-to-hand combat and aggression. So, you do have C.J. Henderson, who's playing very well. You have Chauncey Gardner, who seems to be playing pretty well, too. But C.C. Jefferson, he didn't look good at all the other day. And he needs to decide what this season's all about for him. I don't know what happened off the field with his academics. That's disappointing. But now he's on the field. These are the high-profile games.
He's got to produce.
And he needs to produce because this is for his future, too. And he has a son who's 2. And one reason he came back was to improve his draft stock, CC, playing Grantham's defense because it would suit his pass rushing skills because he is an explosive player who natural strength-wise may have no peer on this team. He is just a country-strong kid. And he can be a real factor, but, it needs to begin this week because he didn't do anything the other day.
Yeah. All right, some of your fans are worried about you. Scott Harrell writes in, Edgar looks tired. See you in Knox on Friday. So
where am I meeting you, man?
Let him know. Anyway, the bottom line is that I know you had a full day. I do appreciate this. I want you to go now and get some rest. I'd feel very bad if I kept you another 20 minutes. And you
can keep me a few more if you need.
I'll keep you 5. I'll keep you 4 more minutes. All right.
Okay, 4 more. If there are any questions, I'll answer them.
All right, I got a couple here. They want to know about the tight ends. Everybody wants to ask about the tight ends. What's with the tight ends?
Okay, tight ends. I really would like to see this. Is it Kyle Pitts? I haven't even seen him, man. I mean, if you got 4 games to test a guy out, I'd love to see him. He's the freshman. This kid is a specimen.
Yeah.
Number 84. He's tall, rangy, runs well. I haven't seen him on the field. But, these guys, they want them to do other things. And Keontae Lewis, the reason he plays is because he's a terrific blocker on the perimeter.
Yeah.
But he isn't making any plays with his hands.
Yeah.
I get it that they want a guy to block, but man, I mean, get a playmaker running the midfield. I don't know about the tight ends. Kamari Gamble made a good block the other day too. It'd be nice to see him, run a seam route or something. I think that he looked really good last spring before he broke his foot. I mean, spring of 2017, and I think he has some upside too. But this Pitts guy is the one that intrigues me. We just haven't seen him yet.
What about Kroll?
I mean, he made the catch that one game. A lot of guys are talking him up.
Yeah.
I don't know enough. I can't say.
All right.
I mean, he's certainly a specimen. I mean, they have some guys who really look the part.
Right.
I mean, part of it's Frank's not seeing him, maybe. I mean, right? Or maybe not.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
I mean, Felipe, we know, doesn't see the whole field and doesn't throw guys open.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing with him. He's got to start anticipating.
I agree with that. Brady Ackerman had a conversation this summer about that, and that's the number one thing he's got to do. He's got to throw people open. With those receivers, they can stretch that defense really quickly by leading the receiver far enough because they can go get the ball. I mean,
Tyree Cleveland can run down anything, and
50-50 balls he'll get his share on too. Yeah,
Trey Grimes can fly and jump.
Yeah.
What is another question?
Number one, they're complaining to me you never get enough time. They said Edgar never gets enough time. It's Edgar's time. He's the one who's busy. Let's see what else we got. Tight ends I want to know about. 2 questions on tight ends. Let's see what there's a bunch of questions and comments. There's a rah-rah comment. Thanks for asking Edgar about Reese, it says. There's just a ton of questions here. They generally want to know about personnel. Is there a player that we might see that we didn't see? Someone that might be playing that didn't play before? We could look. I got to commend us. We spent the entire interview. We never talked about Frank's, but about 2 seconds, and I think that subject is worn out. We talked about P-Rant.
Let him develop. Let's see if he can develop. Mullen's sticking with him through thick and thin. He says.
Yeah.
Okay.
He did.
Well, let's see the kid develop. This will be his 12th start. That's one college football season.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just tired of him scapegoating the kid for everything. But he started 0 for 6 the other day, and I guess there was a drop in there. I guess I didn't think I thought he just looked awful, but he did settle down. But you can't go to Neyland Stadium for a night game, man, with 102,000 people. You can't hear, you can't function. You have cotton mouth. You're so nervous, and then start out 0 for 6. And then all of a sudden settle down. I mean, you could be in for the worst night of your life. So he needs to come out and have a quicker start. And part of that falls on the coaches. Get him going with some easy stuff.
Final question. And by the way, our friend up in Atlanta, Jack Campbell, says, good luck getting through Atlanta. He's in Atlanta.
I'm going to Charlotte.
Okay, well, there you go. It's
I mean, that might not be good because of the storm, but I mean, the Charlotte.
Well, just take care of yourself. And I think the final question is going to be about, I had it here in front of me. Hold on a second. That's it.
No, you don't have anything else?
We're good. Well, nothing we can answer in a minute, and I'll let you go.
Well, tell me what it is, and I'll answer it, and then I'll go.
All right. Let me go back to it here. They want to talk about Pierce, about his not getting time, about him being, getting the ball more. Let's see what else here. Here's the final question at the bottom and comment. Let's see here. I think the last one. It said, Antonius Clayton. We ask about him every week. What is going on?
Really?
Yeah.
I see him at Publix all the time. I see him actually at Publix more than I see him on the field. So that was kind of a joke, but I did.
I know, that's okay.
I've seen him at Publix like 3 times.
Likes food, dude. He likes food. Likes to eat.
Well, I live near the student area, but he's the one player I see all the time. I used to see Marcus May in there all the time, but who was a great guy. But,
I love Marcus May. I thought he was an underrated player.
Clayton, he's a mystery. I mean, they've tried him on the edge. Tried to move him to tackle. I don't know he was their highest recruited player in 2016. He was close to a 5-star recruit.
Yeah.
He has been completely unproductive.
Really?
I don't know I just don't know enough to really comment.
All right, give me a score and give me an analysis and let you go.
Oh, man. Well, I'm not getting sucked into your optimism like I did against Kentucky, but you haven't been very optimistic tonight. I'm giving you a hard time. Or pessimistic.
You beat me down, Edgar. What can I say?
Yeah, well, no. Well, I'm just frustrated.
I'm realistic. I'm a realistic guy, Edgar. I'm realistic.
I'm frustrated when I watch an offense run 44 plays.
Yes. Well, but think about it. They also scored. They get scored touchdowns. They had special teams touchdowns. That's part of the reason when you score quickly, you don't get long drives and you don't have clock and whatever. And I get it, but you're right. 44 is not enough. I mean, that's ridiculous. 44 plays.
341 yards against a defense that was giving up 550.
I agree.
They should have won that game 70 to whatever with all that special team stuff, which was spectacular. But my takeaway on that game is they showed other ways to win.
Besides offense, right.
Which is what this team's going to need to do. They're going to have to win and contribute in myriad, multiple ways and let the offense pitch in a little bit too. In terms of a score, I mean, I think this is going to be a low-scoring, more or less low-scoring game, like a, 17-13 game or something like that.
Which team?
I mean, I think the Gators program should be farther ahead than Tennessee's. I mean, Tennessee went 0-8 last year and was an absolute train wreck. I mean, guys quitting the team, leaving. They have some pieces. I'm not sold on their quarterback at all. And I think the Gators' defense is probably better. So I'll give them a slight win, like 17-13, which would actually fall right in line with the betting line, which is 4.5.
Yeah, 4.5. Yeah, exactly.
So let's say that, 17-13.
All right, a guy, Robert, wants to know, he says, is Dameon Pierce not getting the touches because he's a little behind on blocking assignments or not picking up the plays, or what's his problem? Do you know?
Well, that's what Mullen's implying.
Yeah,
that he isn't doing the little things, the route running, the blocking, and I get that that's part of it, and you want your players to be complete. But, coaching, look, Percy Harvin, you think he was picking up blitzes? Now, I'm not saying Dameon Pierce is Percy Harvin. Yep. Guys who just can do something with the ball in their hands, Kadarius Toney for one, get him the ball.
Hey, stack him in the eye and put him in the line as the lead back. You ain't going to worry about picking up blitzes. All right, man, this time a good trip. Appreciate it. Hope to see you, get you back next week. Have a good trip, buddy. Thank you very much. All right. All right. All right. There's a guy who brings it every week. I mean, he puts it out there for you, and you heard what he said. He's a guy that's he's had no time, probably no sleep, and he was kind enough to spend all that time with us. We went right through the commercial breaks and everything, folks. Listen, this is what we do here. We take care of our peeps. We're going to do this right now, though. It's Daniel L. Hightower Wednesday.
No one ever plans a car accident. Having a plan after you've been in one, however, can make a world of difference. Daniel L. Hightower has been fighting for accident victim justice in Ocala and statewide since 1976. After meeting with Dan and his team, you'll know your case matters, that you matter, and that Dan will fight hard to get you just results. If you've been severely injured through no fault of your own by a careless or reckless driver, you need Daniel L. Hightower.
Daniel L. Hightower, lawyer fighting for accident victim justice since 1976. I want to take a minute here to tell you about it. Coming up in the program, we've got Steve Russell from WRUF, who spoke to the Ocala Quarterback Club. We've got our picks. I have an interview with Coach Steve Spurrier, but I'm not going to play it tonight. I think we're going to let this take some of your comments and talk about a few things tonight. Let me get back to some of my friends here who make this night possible. And one of them is Renstar Medical Research. And here you see a picture of Cam Orth. He's the player of the week, Renstar Star of the Week for the Scott Brantley Trophy. At the end of the year, these players will be selected. The top player with the top performance and the top grade point average, citizenship, and what have you will be named by a group, a prestigious group of people as the winner of the first Scott Brantley Trophy to be presented next spring. So Renstar presents this every week, and here's Cam North had a big night. You see his numbers there, right there. I just watched a video of him. It looks like he's got a pretty good arm, a pretty good player, and he's got a receiver that's, I think, named Whittemore, who's on Florida, to commit to Florida. But anyway, Renstar Medical Research is a superior medical research facility with a proven reputation as a high-quality, patient-centered clinical research facility. Renstar brings out cutting-edge clinical research to Ocala in areas such as Alzheimer's disease, psoriasis, osteoarthritis, migraines, and fibromyalgia, along with other conditions that affect our community. Since its inception in 1998, Renstar participated in more than 600, maybe closer to 700 clinical research trials, and continues to partner with prominent pharmaceutical and biomedical companies throughout the medical industry. Check it out. If you need to know more about how to be involved in some of these clinical trials, call Ocala 352-629-5800 and go online to renstar.net and check out why they say Renstar Medical Research seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. And now my phone's decided it wants to talk, so we'll turn him down. That's that. I know you're picking scores online. I haven't picked mine yet. We'll join you in this. By the way, Football Friday, just so you know, Football Friday is now going to be moved to 11 a.m. We're loaded with guests coming up, and we will be, instead of doing a Friday night one, which people don't seem to like, it's a tough night. People are watching football, other places, high school football, etc. So I want to make sure that we let you know that. Now, I want to tell you about one of my favorite places to go, and that's why. Man, oh man. In fact, I got so hungry today looking at this picture. Mark's Prime Steakhouse and Seafood, 2 locations to serve you, Ocala and Gainesville. I said, honey, Friday night, we're going to go to Mark's and go eat some of that great food. They have a goal there to create a unique dining experience. So they always seem to hit the mark on Mark's. They want to please your palate and soothe your soul with what they do. The finest beef. Look at that great seafood you see there. Premium wines, naturally fresh vegetables. They have some spinach to die for there. So, check it out why I think it's one of the best restaurants in Florida. I've eaten in many, many good fine steakhouses, including the West Coast and New York City. And I'll tell you, Mark's Prime Steakhouse and Seafood ranks right up there with them. So, Ocala, 352-402-0097. Gainesville, 352-336-077. And go, they have, by the way, complimentary valet parking. Go online to marksprimesteakhouse.com and find out about why I tell you it's one of the best meals you'll ever have in the experience. There it says it. Buddy Martin King, okay? Someone maybe put that up there tonight, all right? Buddy, put it back up there. Why? Because you're the king and you're the guy who's going to speak to the kingdom and tell the kingdom we need to all take a deep breath. And this too shall pass. A little dust up here, a little dust up there. A lot of anxiety today in our world. And it's okay to not agree with what I say and what others say. I do not want to have any bickering and fighting online, and I will not tolerate it, okay? Just so you know, you can disagree, you can make jokes, and you want to do something else, you take it outside, but don't do it here, because I'm not going to put up with it, all right? I'm telling you right now, it's just not going to happen here. And before that happens, like I said last night, not a threat, I will just make it 5 people and me, and that's what we'll do. But I love you guys, and I'm so proud that we have 4,700 people. And I've got to tell you that the Knights and the people who work so diligent, so hard to do things like this guy right here, Chad Rich has been an absolute blessing to me. He's done more video work and more editing and more internet stuff, and he's just been fantastic. I just want to salute him tonight for the extraordinary work and contributions he does. In fact, tonight at the Quarterback Club, he was there, and he took some video, and he actually produced these segments. And I want to say there's people like Chad, and I could go on with the names of people, and you know how I'm talking about. I love you, and I appreciate what you do. We're all in this together. It's got to work for us, okay? And it's got to be fun, and or otherwise it won't be. So, again, appreciate very much what you're doing. I put that up there because I was told I had to put it up there. And I guess that means I'm the king and I got to make a ruling. And if I got to make a ruling, I'll make a ruling. You can rest assured of that. All right. Meanwhile, let's talk about, let me take that down. It's a little bit nauseating after a while. I can't take myself too serious there. But I want to say this. Enjoyed Steve Russell tonight. Steve Russell does the show WRUF, and we had a chat. This is a shorter version. Let's hear what Steve Russell had to say of WRF, what he had to say about this Gator football team in Tennessee. And what do you think is going to happen with the balls? They obviously are going to attack the middle of the interior defense of Florida. That's obviously. But David Reese is back. So give me your synopsis on the game, what you're going to tell the folks tonight to Ocala Quarterback.
Well, I think this game used to be, this first game of the SEC schedule, really an important game. It's lost its luster nationally, but I think, buddy, this is one of the most important games Florida plays all year. Because you've already lost to Kentucky. If you lose another SEC East game, you can just about kiss it goodbye as far as having any chance in the SEC. And let's face it, these are two once proud programs that are trying to get back to where they were. Who gets the first leg up? It helps in recruiting if you win. Tennessee has a brutal schedule after this. Not many winnable games down the road here. They've been pointing to this. They haven't won a league game since 2016. Really important game for them. Really important game for Florida.
All right. How's it going to come out, Steve? Look at your crystal ball and tell us.
Boy, if I had to guess now, which I think Florida is just personnel-wise a little bit better. But how do they handle being on the road for the first time? Line of scrimmage game. Can Florida handle Tennessee's running game? Their quarterback hasn't turned the ball over very much, but they haven't been particularly impressive. So I think Florida squeaks one out on the road.
If for a game not all that high on the rankings in terms of viewing in the SEC, it's a big game for both teams.
No
because
doubt.
Now we have a measurable against these two programs of what's going to happen in the landscape of the SEC. Steve Russell, can't wait to hear you talk.
Okay.
Love your show. Noon every day WRUF. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
All right.
Thank you.
Steve Russell. All right, so Steve said tonight, told the club, he lowered their expectations. He said, and he told it like it was. And he said, look at the recruiting. It hasn't been that good. They've got 2 5-stars that'll leave the program this year, and they won't have a 5-star on the roster. Not that that's everything. He believes Mullen's the right guy. He doesn't think this team is ready to go compete at this point in time. He points out there's some issues like still regarding media, relationships, etc. Overall, not a real critical comment, but he was trying to bring people back to earth and don't expect too much too soon. It's okay to think your team is going to be good. It just takes a little bit longer to be good. That's the thing. So thanks to Steve for a very good job tonight on speaking of the quarterback club. Chad seems to be a lot of love around here. And let me put a few messages up on the screen and say good evening to you. Hello, Scott. How you doing tonight? Hey, listen, maybe I am the king. I'm going to read these things. Really. I mean, yes, you're right, Susan Cunningham. Chad has done a great job, and he's selfless. And listen, if you've ever been in a situation where you're maxed out and you just don't have any time at all to do anything, and you need someone to say, "Can I get some help?" and they always say, "Yeah. What do you want me to do?" That is like gold. I mean, when you have a person who's that good, who wants to serve, and by the way, that should be our motto here. We should be serving each other. And Chad is an example. Chad, it's the last time I want to say anything nice about you because you have a big head now. You'll stop doing it. But serving each other. And to make this whole thing work, we have got to help serve each other. So yeah, great job. You're right, Susan. And here's Lauren Meadows, an elite member who says the same thing. And thank you, Jerry, for the nice compliment. Yeah, Jennifer says, Chad's the bomb. Dude, I don't know now. Come on. And then Lynn has comments about thanks, Chad. And thank you, Susan, for this comment. This is what we always tried to be. We always tried to be this, right, Richie? And you followed it with this, and that kind of stuff. And a reminder, if you don't know, I don't even know, Blake Batts, who you are, but I'm glad you remembered this phrase. That is very important, all right? I know some of you are probably dropping off saying, oh, my gosh, the guy's starting to preach a sermon again. Well, I mean, okay, I'm sorry. I'll just put it out there. We'll see where it goes. But I think you're right, Lauren. We're not going to let people bad apples spoil it, and so we'll make this thing work, and we'll work through it together. And look, there's always going to be. I've got a guest on my show tomorrow. It just so happens a very erudite and smart and well-educated psychiatrist who is the top of the line. She's a friend of mine. She has. You take the best schools in America. She's got degrees from all of them. It's phenomenal. And she's written a book and is a friend. And I've never been to a psychiatrist. If I was going to go to one, I'd go to her. And I asked her a question today about group dynamics, just out of curiosity. What are some things we can learn about group dynamics? How to, when you got issues and problems and controversy and so on and so on. And she said, I happen to have a little experience in that area. I said, okay. Come on my show tomorrow, not on the sports show. I do a show called Our Town. And tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock on the sports show, I'm going to have on the Our Town show, which is non-sports, I'm going to have a segment with Dr. Marcia Morris. You can look her up. It's degrees from Harvard, Yale, and Cornell. Okay, just to throw out a few names. She's practicing a psychiatrist at the University of Florida, which she's like, I don't know, number 2 in the department or 3 in the, whatever. She's a common sense person. Totally common sense. So that's one of the things I want to know more about, just how it is, all right? All right, let's talk a little football tonight, and we'll get to, you got to get those Willie Taggart shots in there, I know. I'd say things are looking pretty good for the Dan Mullen bandwagon, but what's going to happen if Florida loses Saturday? It shouldn't change anything. And I love what Mullen said earlier this year, that if he had pulled out that last game, against the one they lost to Kentucky, and they had the Hail Mary, it wouldn't have fixed all the things that were wrong with the team. They would have won, but it wouldn't have fixed the problems that they had. Offensive line, tackling, horrible tackling. So these are all things that got to be fixed. If you listen to Mullen, he teaches repetitively. Every coach I know says things 7 times. And you tell them and tell them and tell them and tell them and tell them, and then you tell them you told them. I've heard many stories about coaches who say that. So I like the fact that they're the fixables. Who used to say fix? Was it Ron Zook all the time? And it is a constant process. I've heard coaches like Lou Holtz, others say, teams just don't change month to month and week to week. They change half to half. So this team can still change. So I'm anxious to see how this all comes out. Now, here's the deal. Florida's a 4.5-point favorite, all right? I said before our quarterback club tonight, and I confess what an idiot I was for losing my $4,000 mythical dollars and taking Colorado State in 20.5. And I base it on math. That's my problem when I think about things. Do you think Florida could score at least 30? Yeah, probably 30, 34, whatever. Do you think Colorado State could score 10? Yeah, or so. Well, that means it's right on the edge there. So if Florida scores 30 and Colorado State scores 10, I win. So I took my mythical bankroll. It's all for fun. And I did a stupid thing. I put $4,000 of my $5,000 on Colorado State to cover. And you know what happened. But you know what? I could also go to a mythical bank and borrow the money, right? It's just, that's why I'm not a good gambler. I'm not. But tonight, at the Quarterback Club, we gathered our friend Danny Williams, who's leads our predictions, by the way, right now. Danny Williams is in Las Vegas tonight, and he sent his wife, Judge, and as is right, Judge Sarah Ritteroff, to fill in, to read his picks. It's fake money, so you know all that. So we had a good time doing it, and here's what we picked. And after it's over, I'll take your scores to see, what do you think the score is going to be on Florida, Tennessee? Welcome back to our picks section, where Fred Land comes in to torture us and makes us pick these games, and then it beats us up if we don't get it right. So part of it, he doesn't know. Oh, yeah, there you go. We get the judge here tonight and the lawyers, so we'll see how this plays out. By the way, just a little word about this. I'm going to talk about it tonight. We got the Scott Bradley Trophy we're so proud of, and we're going to announce some more news on that tonight. It's named after one of the great football players in the state of Florida and the greatest we ever had out here, Scott Bradley, who's a member of this club, the Ocala Quarterback Club, and the scorekeeper. Like Dr. Torture. I'm going to give him a name. Dr. Torture. He loves to hang you by your thumbs and then kick you around a little bit, and then, then he's got you. But the Reaper's not going to get me. I can tell you that right now. And tonight, Danny Williams looks a little different. Wait a minute.
He looks.
That's how he normally looks. Hold
he's
up
still
the
there.
camera,
He's still
Sarah. Okay, that's how you. But he happens to be someplace that you wish you were. And Sarah, Judge Ritteroff Williams, has come in to replace him. And by the way, already has improved the program right away by being here. So thank you, Sarah, for being here.
They're his picks, though.
I know. You take full. Unless he goes undefeated, then you'll take a turn.
That's true, but I'm just reading the script.
All right, here we go. It's Fred Lant, who's been doing this since 1843, and he's got the list of games for us to pick. Tell us how bad we look, and go ahead. I'm ready to be flogged.
All right. Well, last week, we'll start at the top. Last week, Danny started the week with $5,050 in the mythical bankroll that started out at $5,000. And after his picks for the week, he went 2 and 3, and he ends up with $4,950 in his mythical bankroll. I started the week with $4,900 in mine and went 2 and 3. Had bet more on one of the games, and so at the end of week 2, I have $4,500 in my mythical bankroll.
That's no good.
So,
And Danny has 49, was that correct?
Yes.
So he's ahead of you.
Everybody's below the $5,000 mark right now. We need to improve.
All right.
And Buddy,
how am I doing?
Buddy went 3 and 2 last week.
Pretty good.
But unfortunately, Buddy announced that the Florida-Colorado State game was the lock of the year and bet $4,000 of
I don't recall that.
Of his $4,850
No,
bankroll.
I don't think that's right. I'm going to watch the tapes on
And Buddy's now, as a result of his week, has $1,050 in his bankroll.
That's plenty of cash.
Now, in
Don't worry
Texas
about it.
Hold'em poker, he'd have no chance because the guys with the big bankrolls would begin to push him around. But fortunately for Buddy, he's in sports betting world.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Danny's in first place.
He is in first place.
That's what I thought.
You know what? It's worse to have Sarah than Danny. Now, at least Danny didn't brag about it. You know, now I got to take a beating, and Sarah's over here bragging on Danny. She's rubbing it in a little bit, I think, right now. So,
yeah.
Okay.
All right, what we got now?
Week
so,
3.
by the way, just so you know, this is mythical dollars, okay?
Mythical.
So I have the perfect solution. I'll tell you about it after it gets out, okay? I'm going to fix it all. Go ahead.
Okay. So, for week 3.
Week 3.
First game up is Tennessee at home getting 4.5 versus Florida. You want me to start it? Or
You start it. Go ahead.
I'm going to take Florida.
Okay, how much you spending?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to spend $150 on each of these games.
See, I put my numbers out there when I make a bet.
I'm
Just
going
so
to
you
bet.
know.
I'm going to bet $150 on all 5 of them.
All 5 of them. Okay. I'm going to take Florida and Tennessee. I'm going to take Florida and bet $1. Oh wait, I can't do that, can I? It's the minimum. How much do I have to bet?
You can bet whatever you want.
Well, you said you can't bet $1.
Well, you got to bet $50 minimum.
Well, I'll go $50. I'll take Florida and lay the 4.5. I don't feel real strong about it. I don't know which team will show up. That's my pick for the day. And by the way, it's not the lock of the week. Go ahead. Well, what's Danny going to do, Sarah?
All right. This is what Danny said.
You have to hold up and make his lips
Yes.
move.
I
He's
have-
talking right now.
He's talking.
Can you hear him already over there? Producer can't hear you.
All right.
So you get to
You
move it
can't?
over to the side so he can hear you. There you go.
All right.
There you go.
I have no confidence in either the Gators or the Vols offense. It will be a low-scoring game. History says Florida wins when the special teams make another big play for the Gators. I'll take the Gators minus 4.5 for 100 fake dollars.
You know, he writes a dang book. I mean, he goes out of town to Las Vegas. He writes a dang book. Just keep it short, Danny. Go ahead with us.
All right, game 2. Oregon at home with 2 points versus Stanford. It's your turn, buddy.
Yeah, and I love Stanford, but I'm still not sure about this guy. I'm going to go ahead and take Stanford. That's my pick of the week. I didn't say lock. Pick of the week, I got Stanford over Oregon at home, getting 2 points. I'm going to bet 150.
All right. Danny says Stanford has played okay this year. Their running back, Love, has been hobbled with injuries. I think Oregon may be a year away from being really good. I'll take the home team, Oregon Ducks, plus 2 for 100. And they will look the best because Oregon's got awesome uniforms.
Fred?
I'm going to take Stanford.
See, that's how you do it. Just like that. But that's okay. It's your turn now. You get to go with Danny. He gets to pick TCU at Texas. And Texas gets 3, Fred. Is that right?
We're Texas at home with 3 versus TCU, and you're going first, Sarah.
TCU played well against Ohio State until imploding in the fourth quarter last week. Texas beat an overrated USC team last week, TCU wins easily. I'll take TCU -3 for 500.
You know, a guy wins one week and he gets cocky, starts writing his long dissertations, okay? I'm taking TCU and laying the Texas in 3. I'm going to go $50 on it.
I'm going to go with Texas, and as I told you, all of my bets are 150.
Okay. Now we're down to this game. I think is one of the most interesting ones in the country, and they're really one of the most interesting in the SEC because it's going to find out whether Kentucky can be validated what they did to Florida. Fred, tell us what the game is. Who goes first?
All right, I'm going with. I'm sorry. The next game is Kentucky at home with 10 points versus Mississippi State, and my take on the game is that everybody's over enthusiastic about Kentucky because they beat a Florida team that was not quite strong enough or physical enough along the line of scrimmage. I'm going with Mississippi State.
I disagree with you. I think Kentucky is a well-coached football team. They're running back a quarterback situation. I really do like Kentucky to cover, not to win. I like it so much I'm gonna bet $100 on it. Kentucky taking 10 at home against Mississippi State.
Watch Mississippi State, Gators fans. This team will be what your team looks like in 3 years. Big, fast, and strong. The Bulldogs pull away in the fourth quarter. I'll take Mississippi State -10 for 100. Fake dollars.
Okay, here we go. This is a wrap-up. What we got?
Georgia Tech at home with 16.5 points versus Clemson.
Who's pick?
That's your pick.
No way. I'm taking Clemson over Georgia Tech, even at home with 16.5. I'll bet $50. Sarah?
Georgia Tech quarterback is out. Clemson defense is great. Clemson will score a lot of points. I like Clemson -16.5 for $100.
Fred, you wrap it up. Fred's doing his math. It takes him a little longer. He's a
All right, no, I'm writing down everybody's bets. Yeah. I just want to point out to you, buddy.
Just make sure you write mine down correct this week, will you?
That you better hope that you get some of these right because you have $1,050 and you've bet $400 this week.
It's not a problem. You know why? Mythical dollars. I'm going to do a mythical bank and get a mythical $5,000 again. That's all.
Well, the mythical bookie is not going to accept another input of money.
Mythical loan.
Last year, I just want to remind you that last year we picked games, and when Buddy couldn't pick enough games to win it on games straight up, he decided we would wager money. And now that you're in the toilet, you're going to change the
We'll see. It's early. We'll see what it's a long season. We'll see how cocky you are in a couple of weeks.
All right.
Okay, so here's the deal. Fred, thanks very much. Appreciate it. Make sure you get it right this week. Judge Ritter off. You can come back next week. Leave Danny at home. I'm Buddy Martin. Court is adjourned.
Go Gators.
Okay, that was fun. That's my group, the Quarterback Club, every Wednesday night. We pick these games. Usually Danny is here, and then the guy on the left of the screen there is a legend around here. Fred Lant is an attorney. His brother's a judge also, but he's really good at this kind of stuff, and he's been doing the card we have at the club, which we don't gavel on. We just pick for fun. And he's been doing it for 48 years. He's a young man, as you can see still. So, yeah, Fred does a great job. So, okay, I want to thank those folks. Danny, be safe out in Las Vegas. There's some of your scores on the screen. I've been putting them up there. Charles said 17-16. I haven't picked my score yet. I'll probably wait till football Friday. Go ahead and hit me with your scores real quick because we're going off the air, and I'll post them up there. We'll see. I'm going to keep these now. And I'm going to tell you a little secret about our temperament and our intent and our sharing. I want to see some really good posts here. I don't necessarily want to see to wax poetically about how great the Gators are. I want you to be, hey, look at there, Daddy Williams popping up and says something. Daddy Williams says, Fred Lant is fantastic. He's watching in Vegas. Hey, buddy, come on home. And he is fantastic. I'll take your point. I want you to know, though, that it's important to me that you hear this, that the people who post the best will be justly rewarded in the next week or 10 days. I want us to think a little bit outside the box, think about things that are interesting. Commentary is good. I don't want to hear squabbling and bickering. Give me your thoughts without trying to play like Johnny One Note. You know who Johnny One Note is? Where you just keep singing the same note over and again. Give me a little originality and give me some thought stuff. And it can be provoking. Doesn't have to be vanilla. But enlighten us with your knowledge, okay? Look, everybody thinks they can know how to call football plays, how to build fires, and how to read a map, I guess. And the fact is, we're not experts on football. We think we are, but I've watched thousands of games in my lifetime. I don't know that much either. So it's okay to have an opinion, but don't take yourself too seriously, okay? And please don't fight amongst yourselves. I can't take that, all right? I cannot take that, and I will not just take it. So I want to say, Danny, thank you. Before we go off the air, I'm going to put your scores up, so keep on doing it. I want to bring you aboard my little message from my friend Jen Lay and tell you that if you're looking for some easy way to cook, this is it. Tupperware makes some good stuff. This is one of the pots that we looked at because it's a microwave pressure cooker. You've heard about pressure cookers. This one is, it looks like it might be a little pricey, but when you think about that thing will pay for itself in a couple of months. Instead of eating out all the time, eat out when you need to eat out. When you don't, cook this food, and this is a quick and easy way to do it. And there's Jennifer's link at the top, Jen Lay. If you want to do that, or you want to know about some tailgating stuff, or some stuff you can get for putting your leftovers in the fridge, or some kind of something you need to whatever you need. Tupperware's got this terrific brand. And if you have an organization you're trying to host a party for, you can earn free hostess gifts, and they'll help you. They'll give 40% of all sale proceeds back to that organization. So if you want to purchase your product today, search Tupperware Jen on Facebook, or look at this link right here. It's the perfect way to serve that G&K tailgater spread. It's also a good investment in your family. I would encourage you to check it out. All right, and let's see. I see you're posting scores up there right now. Keep on. We're going to go out with some scores. And thanks to our guest tonight, Edgar Thompson being one of those. And Edgar's always good. I love Edgar because he just gives everything, man. He just keeps feeding it. And let's see how much scores we got here. I'm going to save mine, but you heard me pick the score. I picked Florida to win. I'm not all in on it, by the way, and I'm not betting $4,000. Let's see. Patrick says 35-0. That's a little different. Wow. Jeff thinks the special teams are going to be really good. Yeah, so of course, I think you're being sarcastic, so I'm not going to post that. But, and he wants to thank his wife. You know, David Baldo thinks Franks is going to throw 3 TDs and get a defense get 5 turnovers. David, wow, that's a bunch. Robert Dustin is asking for people to support Dan Mullen. I think they are. I think they're supporting Mullen. And you know what, Jimmy, I'm not going to approach this question again. It's old news, and I don't mind you asking anything you want to. I don't want to get into quarterback stuff anymore right now. Ken Rock says 38-13. Boy, you guys are thinking his offense is going to do some damage, right? Susan Cunningham predicted this, and Jennifer Lay agrees with her, apparently. She's got her score there. David Fortune, dude, what are you... No defense in this game, David. Whew. My word. That's a bunch right there. 98 points. Nat Blaylock thinks Florida's going to win 31-24. That's a good score right there. I think that's a pretty good score, and maybe even a little tighter than that. Kevin likes 21-13. And I heard someone say on Edgar that he thinks it'll be a low-scoring game. Kyle Borgal thinks it'll be this low-scoring. Lynn Tyndall's still sticking in that 38-17. He's got a ring to it, right? So you're confident that they can roll in and roll the points. I don't know if they'll score the points on offense. Raymond Bernhard says 31-10. It could be. So, yeah. And the last couple of picks here. My cousin, Robin, says 24-17. I'm assuming that means Florida. The one said different. Richie says 39. I think I posted Richie's once before. Way to come through, John T. Way to come through. Wow. Steve Young, my buddy from Ocala, lives out of town, says 31-10 Florida. Soderquist, get real. Stop drinking those Fireballs, okay? Becky Smith Carlisle, I'm telling you, take a couple more. 24-9. Unless Tennessee gets some defensive and special teams touchdowns, I don't know that Tennessee can score much more than 15 or 16 or 17 points. I really don't. Anyway, that's what we got tonight. We're in the extra time period. I'm going to call it overtime. I'm going to call it extra time because we're in extra time. And I've had a long day. You've had a long day. Appreciate everybody jumping aboard tonight, participating in the show. It's been a good night. And again, remember, keep it strong, keep it real, but keep it proper out there, okay? And let's do this thing together and do it right. And let's have fun, okay?